Welcome to Let's Talk Pets with your host, Linda Weston, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Pets, a fun program. Very happy to be part of the fabulous Hub family lineup of programs. I'm Linda Weston, your host from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals, a nonprofit, totally volunteer support group for the Cookeville Putnam County Animal Shelter. This morning, my co-host, Sarah Hollick-Webb from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals is with me in the studio, and we have a wonderful guest with us today, a favorite, Carissa Solberg from Agility Acres. She's here to tell us all about agility and the fun you can have doing agility with your dog. So, Sarah, before we get rolling, let's just take a minute and thank our sponsors who make this show possible.
We are so grateful to Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center.
And Copeland Veterinary Hospital on 10th Street with 24-hour emergency service.
And Cumberland Pet Essentials, offering pet grooming, styling, and spa, holistic foods, nutritional counseling, and a pet boutique at a new address, 142 South Willow in the Willow Tree Plaza.
And Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals. So many thanks to each of these groups. So now it's our turn to say good morning, Carissa. How are you?
Good morning. It's always fun to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. We're glad to have you here. You know, we have been hearing lots of good things about you, girl, about your program that you are doing at Agility Acres. So just for the folks at home, let's start with talking about what agility is and how much fun it is.
Okay. Well, it definitely is fun. That is the primary reason that we all do it. But at its core, it's basically an obstacle course that we play on with our dogs. And we achieve those skills by teaching them one at a time, and then we just chain them all together and then run the course with our dog, directing them through it. So they will go over jumps and through tunnels and climb up a seesaw and do weave poles. There's all sorts of obstacles, and the dogs think it's a lot of fun.
Well, I think that's neat. So you start with just one obstacle.
Yep, you teach one obstacle at a time, and we also have to teach handling behaviors, which is how we get from obstacle to obstacle, because we don't just run in straight lines or circles. We change direction. So we have to teach the dogs how to follow our body cues so that they read turns and then obviously perform the obstacle safely as well.
So are your programs available to all breed, sizes, ages of dogs, or are you very specific, or do you have certain programs for each, or what do you do?
So the general rule of thumb is just that for age-wise, they should be a year old before they're doing full-sized equipment. But we can start them on their foundation behaviors much sooner than that. So I usually say around 6 months is a good time to think about starting. But you can also start with an older dog. My first agility dog didn't. He was 4 years old, I think, when we first started agility. So there's no limit on that. But then as far as breeds, any size, any breed, my first dog was a mixed breed. I've had rescues. They don't have to be registered. There are many different options if you want to compete that will allow dogs of all shapes, sizes, and breeds.
Well, what are some of the traits that you might look for if you're at home and you think, oh, I think this might be fun. I wonder if my dog would like it. So what would you look for at home with your dog?
Oh, usually the people who come into agility have very high energy dogs.
Yeah,
so they're looking for an outlet for that energy. But dogs who like to play with toys, dogs who run around, dogs who like to jump up on things. But basically, anybody who wants to enhance their relationship that they have with their dog could benefit from the training. Because again, you don't have to have the fastest dog on the course. It really is just about the connection that you have as you run around together and play.
I love that Chris has mentioned the connection and just to help bring you closer to your dog, because now we're seeing, we're spending more and more time with our pets these days, and especially during the summer, we want activities to do, especially with our dogs. So this is a great activity to burn off energy, to increase your connection, to increase communication with your dog. Of course, sometimes I wish my dogs could talk. But it's always so helpful when you can learn things about your pet and learn how to better communicate, just to live with them on a daily basis and to make life better for both of you.
Exactly. Well, tell us a little bit about what your different classes are.
Okay, it's pretty progressive as far as we start out at the basic foundation level. That is building those communication building blocks that we have and that we need for the sport. And so we get the dogs paying attention to us, focusing on us, interacting with weird things that move and make noise. And then obviously we introduce the equipment. And then as the levels progress, we just continue to build on those behaviors. So the progression of classes that I offer is Foundations 1 and 2 are each 6 weeks classes, where by the end of that, they're essentially running very short courses of jumps and tunnels. And then after that, we teach the contact equipment, which is a controlled behavior. So they have to learn to do it safely. They have to climb up things and climb down, and those things move.
Not just jump off when they want to. Yes.
And then after they've learned all of those skills, then we go into classes where we start running full courses. So those foundation classes, are going to take about half a year usually to get through, and then they're ready to go on and keep going. So it's not like your basic obedience classes where you have 6 or 7 weeks of classes and you're done. We're usually in it for the long haul.
And speaking of basic obedience, is that something good for your pet to have under your belt and your pet's belt when they come into your foundations courses?
Yeah, mostly because your basic obedience classes are really the start of building that relationship with your dog and teaching your dog how to learn and teaching you how to teach your dog. So it is very helpful if the dogs coming into class already have that basic understanding of sit down, stay, and most importantly, come, because it is a high energy environment with other dogs. So we need to make sure that when they are off leash for those parts of class, that they will come back to you. I used to have my very first foundation classes were all held indoors, but the COVID situation has prompted me to now move us all outside where we have more space, don't have to worry about that so much. So that coming when called has become a little more important. I've always said you can train a lot of things on the fly in agility, because as you build value for working with you and the equipment, they tend to want to stay with you anyways. But now that we're outside from day one, it's pretty important that they come back.
Oh, interesting.
Well, it's all great stuff, and I really like it like this because I like how much you focus on building that relationship with your pet and how important it is to do things. You have to do activities with your pet to build that relationship, especially if they do have high energy. We hear so often, one of the most common complaints that we hear is, my dog has chewed up something. My dog has destroyed my shoes. My dog has, just common complaints that we hear. Things like agility can help focus those what we perceive as negative behaviors. Your dog very much enjoys it, but can focus those negative behaviors into something that's good and productive and that helps, just like I said, be a better pet for you to live with at home as well.
Yeah, and it's not even just about their physical energy needs, it's mental as well. A lot of the training behaviors that we do will wear our dogs out mentally. So it's not even just about physical energy. They'll just come in the house and settle.
Well, we forget that, most dogs want a job.
Yeah.
And sometimes that job is being, a couch weight. And oftentimes, with most dogs, that job they're just looking for. They don't know what it might be. And they will find an activity that sometimes we find unsavory if we don't provide them one and provide them with that healthy mental and physical outlet. And sometimes if we don't provide them with that mental outlet and that mental stimulation, sometimes they can develop anxiety-related behaviors and separation problems if we can't give them that mental stimulation that they need as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have obviously migrated to some pretty high drive dogs as I've been in the sport for a while, and I can't imagine living with them if we didn't have that deal.
We've had experience with Belgian Malinois and German Shepherds, and they very much need an outlet.
Well, when you, going back to your classes, when you have a class, do the dogs run the course one at a time with their owner, or how does that work?
At the very beginning levels, the dogs are all out there working in what I refer to as stations.
Okay.
So they're separated.
Okay.
We have a bit of distance between them, but we do have multiple dogs out at the same time. But as you progress through the levels, we do focus just on one dog and handler team at a time, just because that is more similar to how trials and shows work. We only have one dog in the ring at a time.
Wow. So your classes are full at the moment, I understand.
At the moment, yeah, we're pretty full. I am working my latest set of beginners are almost done with their second set of classes. So we're probably around 8 to 10 weeks out from being able to start a new set. So right when the weather cools off and gets really nice this fall, we should be ready to start a new group of beginners.
Yeah, and that's perfect in so many ways. So if you are interested in, getting into one of these foundations courses, now would be a great time if you haven't had it already, or if you just need a refresher to go through some basic obedience classes and to start going back through basic obedience commands if you've already been through those classes. Go ahead and start refreshing that and getting those skills sharpened back up with your pet. That gives them enough time to do that and get ready for some of your foundations.
Definitely. That would be a great idea.
Great. So now we know how to reach you. So let's just take a quick break. Don't go away, folks, because we're going to be right back with more great information on Let's Talk Pets on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. Welcome back to Let's Talk Pets with me, your host, Linda Weston, and Cookeville Putnam County Animals Vice President Sarah Hollick-Webb on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. So Sarah and I have been talking this morning with Carissa Solberg of Agility Acres, which is located right here, well, just in Cookeville. And we've been talking about the fun and the benefits of doing agility courses with your dog. And during the break, we were just saying, Sarah, you had a really good point about all dogs can have fun with this.
That's it. I think it's, the way that Carissa structures her program and that, she teaches those foundational skills and has those foundational classes. Yes, if you have a dog that is, and you just want to bond with your dog, or you have a dog with lots of energy, or you just want to go out and have fun, Carissa's classes out at Agility Acres can suit you, because these are for all breeds, all sizes. If you want to go on and compete, I know she'll take you on and get you on that path. But if you don't, if you just want to have fun, this is absolutely a great thing to do. And don't be intimidated by it, because pretty much everyone is all starting out at the beginning too. You're going to be out there with everyone else that really doesn't know what they're doing either. So it's good.
From German Shepherds to Dachshunds.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be everybody. Mm-hmm. Well, tell us, Carissa, how did you get involved with this? I mean, this is a wonderful sport.
Yeah. So I was a lifelong animal lover, as most of us tend to be. And I initially started out with horses. We always had dogs growing up, and I used to play with them in the backyard, having them jump horse jumps. But my main focus was horses. But I used to live up in Wisconsin, where it's very cold in the winter. So one winter, I was tired of playing with my dog in the barn, where it was freezing, and I found us a indoor class in a town nearby, because I had seen a dog agility on TV, and I thought it looked like a lot of fun. And then the side story there too was that I always wanted to jump horses, but I had some fears. I had a couple accidents, so I can have that outlet with the dogs, and it was exactly what I wanted. I walked in, I had that 4-year-old mixed breed at the time. He loved it. He had so much energy, and we took to it right away. So I was hooked. Within 2 years of my first class, I no longer had horses, and I was getting more dogs. It was just, I had a really good community of people in Wisconsin that taught me well and got me a very good start in the sport.
Well, you've got a very nice following here, as we can see with all your classes being full. So
I have some really great students here. They try very hard. They're very willing to put the work in, and fun. Fun is the primary thing that we go for every day.
Well, and you're actually a competitor in your own right. I remember seeing you in the last, I saw a tape of you and your pet in the last event that was in Nashville.
Yep. Sign of Sport was probably the last major event that this country had, actually, before everything shut down. And we had a very good showing there. I do like competing. I'm a competitive person. Obviously, it's not a requirement for the sport, but COVID has changed things a lot, which has honestly opened a lot of doors for people who didn't perhaps think they wanted to compete before, because many agility organizations are now offering titles that you can earn at home. So, so as long as you have equipment at home or a place to set it up, such as my facility, I've offered it to my students. We can actually set up courses like you would see at a trial, and you run it like you're at a trial, and you submit videotape, and you can earn titles. And I have a feeling, because it's been so popular, that this might stick around for a while.
Wow. It's a lot of fun, and I love that, that this is open, because some people can't travel. They don't want to travel long distances, and some of these trials, you're pretty much there for the weekend. You're kind of camping out there, waiting for your sport to come up, or your level. So for those that don't want to, commit days to it, this is a great way for them to be a part of it and to show off their pets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of fun for everybody who's been involved. I do miss regular in-person trials a bit, just because of the community social aspect of it. They're slowly starting to start up again, but for the most part, this is what we have for right now.
Wow. Sarah, is that something you and Daryl would do with your dog Ted?
Yes, Ted would probably be a good candidate for agility. Our biggest guy is also our youngest one right now, and he's just a couple years old with lots of energy, but and has lots of bad behaviors that that we're still working through. But he's one of those dogs that likes to look to you and wants to know what you want him to do next. And we see that with a lot of pets. Your Kramer, Linda, is one of those pets. I see him constantly looking to you, seeing what mom is going to do next, and what what he can do for mom, and often to show off.
Not that one.
for everyone that's in the room. So yes, just great family pets make great agility dogs often.
Yep, that's where we all start.